Good evening and thanks for joining us on the news in Africa and the world. Guineas Presidential's 2020, the Constitutional Court has validated 12 candidatures, including those of 2 women for the presidential election set for October 18. In prelude to the elections, the selected candidates will compete in the coming days to mobilize their supporters. The court rejected only one candidacy out of the 13, citing medical reasons, which is that of the Democratic Union for Renewal and Progress of Edward Zutumu. According to the Constitutional Court, the candidacy files of these 12 political leaders met the conditions provided by Article 42 of the Constitution, therefore making them eligible for the upcoming presidential election. In addition, the Independent Electoral Commission, (CENI), has indicated that there are 6.5 million voters registered on the electoral list out of the 12 million inhabitants in the country. Over to a natural disaster story. Niger's western region has been hardest hit by the floods, which have effectively shut down the capital Niamey and destroyed local rice cultures. Authorities announced that the floods caused by heavy rain since June have killed 65 and affected more than 300,000 people in several neighborhoods of Niamey. On Wednesday, the Ministry of Humanitarian Aid and Disaster told the French press agency that over 38,000 families were affected. 51 people died as a result of their homes collapsing. According to the UN Humanitarian Coordination Office, nearly 760,000 people have been affected by the floods that have hit West Africa and parts of Central Africa for several weeks. The Southwest African country Namibia has further eased coronavirus restrictions for international tourists to try to prevent the collapse of a sector hit by the coronavirus pandemic after the country closed its borders in March. The rules introduced in July specify that tourists had to be quarantined at their first destination for 7 days, which resulted in a large number of cancellations. In a way to ease the situation, the tourism ministry said tourists could go to their pre-booked destination and take part in activities for up to 5 days, after which they will be tested for the virus. He added if they stay at their pre-booked destination for less than 5 days, they can proceed to another destination without a test. The tourism sector in the country has not seen any new bookings since the beginning of the month. The sector is highly competitive and Namibia is competing to attract tourists with countries from all over the world. Over to Nigeria, doctors on the front line of the coronavirus pandemic have gone on an indefinite strike over their pay, poor working conditions, and limited resources while COVID-19 infections surge. Dr. Alihu Sukumba, president of the National Association of Resident Doctors, said it is an unspecified strike until issues are resolved. Resident doctors are medical school graduates training as specialists. They are pivotal to frontline healthcare in Nigeria as they dominate the emergency wards in its hospitals. Doctors and workers had previously gone on strike in June to demand the provision of efficient personal protective equipment as well as life insurance and hazard allowance. In a statement, the Minister of Labour, Chris Njije, called on the doctors to suspend the strike, saying the government has spent more than 2 billion naira between April and June to provide hazard allowances for healthcare workers, that most of the doctors' demands have been fulfilled. Out of Africa, Germany and France have vowed to maintain a united front in talks with Britain as the UK unveiled its new Brexit bill on Wednesday. Prime Minister Boris Johnson was accused of presiding over a rogue state as his government introduced legislation that intentionally breaches its EU withdrawal treaty in the countdown to a full Brexit divorce. The PM defended the government's approach after its extraordinary admission that the new bill governing post-Brexit trade in Britain and Northern Ireland breaks international law. In a bid to tamper exchange with Scottish nationalist MP Lan Blackford, Johnson insisted the bill was about protecting jobs, protecting growth, ensuring the fluidity and safety of the UK international market. The government maintains that its new UK internal market bill is needed to smooth trade between England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland and help power a recovery from the coronavirus pandemic once a post-Brexit transition ends this year. Oregon wildfires destroy 5 towns as 3 deaths are confirmed in California. The fire erupted from a lightning-sparked flame that moved back to life with greater intensity this week after firefighters had made significant moves to contain the blaze. Over a dozen major firestorms continue to cause havoc across wide swaths of California. Being the neighboring state of Oregon, it bore the latest brunt of wildfires plaguing much of the western United States over the past week. The winds also contributed in dispersing the flames up to 80 kilometers per hour, engulfing hundreds of homes as firefighters fought to at least 35 large blazes across areas of Oregon. Several communities were substantially destroyed, Governor Kate Brown said in a news conference, describing the incident as greatest loss in human lives and property due to wildfire in our state's history. And tough new lockdown restriction measures on social gathering across England were announced on Wednesday as British Prime Minister Boris Johnson tries to control a resurgence of coronavirus infections. From September 14, gatherings will be limited to no more than 6 people, with fines for those who fail to comply. The number of cases in the United Kingdom has begun to rise sharply in recent days, estimated at 1,000 per day in August, and attributed to high levels of transmission among young people. The new rules will not apply to workplaces or schools, and there will be exemptions for weddings, funerals, and some organized team sports. That said, thanks for watching, and until we meet again, do take care and stay safe.